on the beat.
Welcome back to the Supercoach Take podcast. It's the end of round 12. There was a lot of good games on the weekend, a lot of close ones, which is good to watch. The agenda today, now we've got to talk about the decision of the West Coast Tigers game getting moved forward and what it means for Supercoach, the buy targets over the next couple of weeks to target, freeing up cash. Is there some must-haves that we need to look at? And then captains and vice-captains later on. So this week I scored 1984. It was an okay week, but looking around, it was still just under par slightly. I mean, I went up from my rank, but that's because I'm about 5,000, so just inside the top 5,000 again. Hopefully I can get to top 2, 1K at some point at the end of the year. We'll see how we go. Obviously, with me as always is George. How are you, buddy?
Good, Enno. How are you?
Very good, mate. Very good. How'd you go?
Okay, 2032. I only had the 5 premiums out. So happy with my week. I think if you like Dane Zorko, probably tune out this episode. That's a big win for us, but we'll discuss him later as well, whether you trade him or not. It's a bit of a tough one. But yeah, happy with my week set up. I've got two more premiums to get in, and we'll see how we go over the next few weeks. But yeah, going to really struggle in that last buy round.
Beautiful. And with us, as always, under the weather a bit today is JD. How are you, mate?
I am not good, but the team is doing all right, and that's all that counts.
That's it.
So
How'd you go?
2098 for me. It was actually a touch over 2100. Then scaling got me, but that's okay. A near 2100 takes me up about 500 ranks. I think about 800 overall now. And as I was kind of hoping for, the buys mean a charge for those that have planned well. Hopefully we can keep this up.
Who got scaled? I was looking and then I was distracted. But so who got scaled down?
I believe Brayshaw went from 125 to 120. I think they took a point off Waitman too. And McRae and Bont went from, I want to say 150 and 130 to 149, 129.
Okay, right.
Who's counting anyway?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, every single point counts, George. You know that.
Yeah.
Now, the decision from the game getting moved forward, I don't exactly know what the sole reason was for, because I think Richmond is still flying back to Sydney, but that's beside the point. So that was Thursday, round 14, but now it's moved to round 13 and it's on Sunday night. It becomes the second last game of that round. There's still the Queen's birthday clash. So for Supercoach, we got 2 extra trades and the ability to do 4 over the next 2 weeks instead of 3. So boys, what's the thoughts on the decision? We'll go to George.
I want JD to go first.
Okay, we'll go to JD.
I'm not happy.
Yeah, so I think my views are probably going to be the same as yours, George, and I think we've touched on this in both of our videos this week. But I'm not a huge fan of the way it's been done, and I appreciate why. Like, this is the pattern from last year. This is the thing it's easy to do, rather than adjusting whether it's best 18 or best 15, and it's going to be hard to make this fair for everyone. So I'll caveat with, like, it's not an easy call to make. But the reason why I don't like adding 2 trades, like there's a couple of big reasons. So the first is for those that already had 3 or 4 premiums affected by this. So say you had Bolton, Shorty, and Dusty. Now, this is not an uncommon combo. There's many people that have that. You've got 3 premiums out this extra round, and you're getting 2 trades. And you'd have to sideways 2 of your premiums to help solve the problem. So it doesn't really solve it. And you're forced to trade out players you don't want to trade out. That's not really a solution for them. And then secondly, for players like me, who I don't have all 3, I've just got the 2, but I've probably wasted a couple of trades this year on players like Bose. Trading out Jelly was apparently a terrible move in hindsight. So I've wasted a couple of trades. I shouldn't be getting extras. I should be punished for earlier poor trading, not being given these extra trades to help me finish a team. So I don't like it from both these perspectives. It doesn't really help those that are worse affected, and it rewards those that maybe haven't used trades as well as they should have so far in the year.
Yeah, I'm with JD. It's as simple as I have to cover 3 players with 2 trades by trading out premiums that I don't want to trade out, nor do I deserve to trade out. So yeah, really, I think it should have been best 14. I know that sounds a bit low, but take an extra 2 off because there's less teams playing, and then because of the uncertainty and the ill preparation, take another 2 off. Everybody wins basically. And, we don't have to trade premiums, which, Supercoach is not really about trading premiums. So, I guess we got to move forward now, deal with the cards we've been handed, and yeah, see how we go. But I'm gonna seriously copper in round 14. Fielding before trades. Before trades I'm fielding 12, so I can fix that to 15 hopefully, and yeah, just gonna absolutely cop it. But look, I think the Herald Sun team made really good decisions last year. It's very hard right now. They said on Twitter, Supercoach is a small part of their job. That's not their fault. That's their job. And when you have limited time and limited resources, you make decisions that could have been a lot better. It's just how it is. So really unfortunate, but yeah, not the Herald Sun's fault. It's just how they see Supercoach. It's a small part of a very insignificant part of the Herald Sun.
Well, I guess like the other thing is, right, it's the time and money required to make those changes. So I'm guessing because this is established pattern from last year, it's easy for them to flip that switch and add those trades. It's probably much harder for them to go in and recode from best 18 to best 15 or something. It sounds silly, but if they haven't already established a pattern to do that, I could see why there may be more like dev costs from their side, which they probably aren't interested in doing.
I'm not sure it's dev costs though. But anyway, go on, Enno.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how hard it would be. It must be because the game's only moving ahead of one. I know the guys in the Discord were discussing it, but you could possibly still count it for that round, and not, you don't want to trade these primos that are in your team and wasting trades just to get an extra score that week because, you have the trades are there. So I don't know how hard it is to do that. I guess it must be harder than even changing it to best 15 or 14 or whatever. So yeah, I guess it's what was set last year. JD said it's the easy way. It's I don't think it makes everyone happy, but it sort of makes everyone likes more trades. Whether it's a good thing or not is to be debated. But yeah, I guess how we use them now is the key. So what do you guys think in round 14? Will you be sidewaysing any primos?
I have to. I'm not fielding 12 players. I might as well just quit if I don't do anything. So I'll try to get to 15. And what it also means is I was planning to have 3 injury trades left. And now because I'm going to bleed so many points to death that I'm going to go down to 2 injury trades. And I didn't want to do that, but now that's just how it is. I think it's worth the risk now. So yeah, I think I'll trade 1 or 2 premiums. Unfortunately, we're pretty much forced to trade premiums in that buy. Like I want to trade Ridley. I can't because I need a warm body that round. So I have May and Brayshaw, so that's something I'll look at. And then it's like the alternatives at that price I don't love. And because other people are, we have these extra trades, people are looking at, if you don't have Bont, you don't have, Darcy Parish is a big one. Most people don't have him. And Darcy Parish reminds me, we'll speak about him afterwards. It reminds me of McRae a few years ago when he broke out. It's like, okay, this purple patch has got to end. And then instead of, regressing to 115, it goes up to like 130 average, 140 average, and it's just absurd. So he's like the real deal. But yeah, I'll be looking to sideways 2 premiums. How about you, JD?
I am hoping that I can get away without having to sideways any premiums. I think after I've done 3 trades this week, I haven't done a 4th, and I've got 15 playing for next week, assuming that 4 rookies continue to get their jobs. So Reeves and Waitman seem pretty safe. Jones from Port seems somewhat safe. Waterman from Essendon seems a little bit more speculative. So I've actually got a pretty good chance of being able to trade into 18 next week without having to sideways anyone. I think the problem with doing a sideways is the targets that we want to sideways. So a few off the top of my head might include Ridley, Short, Brayshaw, and Impey. All of these premiums or slightly sub-premiums are now 50 to 100k below what everyone else is. So if you want to get Ridley to a Mills, you've got to pay, 100 grand? If you've got Impey and you want to get him up to Zorko, that's 160. If you want to get Brayshaw to a Bontempelli, that's 170. So to sideways, in quotation marks, the sub-primos, you're going to have to do another downgrade anyway. So your full 2 trades is being burnt on 1 downgrade, 1 sideways. It just seems like a really poor allocation of resources. So the advice that I am currently running with is try and not adjust your plans given these two trades. Try not to react to it. Try and use them to cover whatever your deficiency was going to be when you had a full team. So say you were going to get to a full team already, but you were going to have 2 trades left at the end, which isn't enough. Try and save these 2 new trades, continue on your plans as normal, and have 4 left. I can't see using these 2 extra trades to sideways as being a good decision over the rest of the year.
Is there a minimum number of plays you guys would put that you should be fielding in round 14? Or is that just quick fire? What do you think?
It's probably more about how many premiums you field. Most of mine are premiums. I think the only rookie I'm fielding, that's if he plays as Waterman, and fingers crossed for Newcomb. And also I think there's the Essendon rookie that was in the mid-season draft as well. With their, you've guys got 3 starting midfielders out now. So the minimum, I don't know. I think you want to field like 14 premiums minimum. I'm not sure. I guess it depends what it means for you long term, and it depends on the quality of those premiums. What are you thinking, Anna?
I think 15, 16. Like, you only want to take a couple of donuts would be the absolute most. Yeah, it's really annoying. I don't want to be trading Brayshaw and May, because they're probably going to be scoring okay for the rest of the year, but just to get an extra primo score, is it worth burning a trade? I don't know. And like JD said, you can't really get them to many good primos anyway, so is it really worth it at the end of the day? It's going to be tough to weigh up, but I think I'll just get there, provided rookies, and we do need some to pop up anyway, this week and next, so fingers crossed for that. Next, we've got some ways to free up cash, and whether we think these are, plausible options or not, over the next few weeks, and in the same vein as sidewaysing primos, really. So we've got written down here Lloyd to Houston. Now, I know George put that one down. What do we think of that?
I'm just trying to basically what this would do. Now, trading the most ultra durable premium to someone with a busted AC joint potentially is a bad idea, I think. So it's more Lloyd down to someone, because it might be that last buy run. You could go down to someone else, like trying to think. It could have been Ridley, but probably not now. Dare I say Adam Sard's 3-run average of 96, I think, with Doherty moving to a wing for the most part. So you could free up like 150 there. And the reason why would be this gets you a Parrish or a Bont, or if you don't have McRae or whatever, in the midfield. So that's the opportunity cost. Getting rid of one of these players for an extra score, plus you get that super primo in the midfield. So I guess the other one is Oliver to Josh Kelly, banking 150. Do you really want to trade a top 3 in the Brownlow medalist? Top 3 in the Brownlow player this year? Probably not, but you bank 150, and then it also gets you pretty much, it opens up the option to get one of these super primos as well and strengthen up your team as well as your points in round 14. And yeah, Josh Kelly's one where there's a little bit of uncertainty there, but he's the only one at that 550 range, and Neil potentially, that can go with these 650k plus players, or get within 10 points of them. So I don't think I'll do this, but I think it's something you could look at.
Yeah. Before we move on to the last one, JD, what's your thoughts on those 2 moves?
I guess, I'm not a big fan of for my team with my situation. What I guess I'd be more interested in hearing about from you, George, is for which teams, like what position do you have to be in for these things to make sense? Because for most teams, I would say 95 to 98% of teams, none of these trades really make a whole lot of sense. So for who would it make sense to do this?
Well, those who are struggling to finish a team, or that want to get a Brayshaw to a Bontempelli.
I think the last one makes the most sense, is Grundy. I know we talked about it before the pod, but Grundy to, anyone really. Someone who's had the bye. Or if you went Grundy to Rob or Nick Nat this week, you did pretty well. They scored well, and they'll play again this week, but then they'll have the bye in round 14. But you could still trade Grundy out this week as sort of a last resort, and either go to, I know JD's mentioned Goldstein, if you trust in him for maybe 3 or 4 weeks and flip him back to Grundy, or you could just go and run with Reeves and CCJ until he drops and have Grundy as your last upgrade. So what's your thoughts on that move, guys?
Just quickly, there's no rucks. Well, first of all, we might have a season pause because a few more cases in Melbourne this week. The players have already said they're not going to go into hubs. The Gill said that they want to avoid hubs if they can, like absolute last resort. So I think there'll more likely be a season pause. So that could give Grundy a bit more recovery time. I am not interested in trading Grundy. And again, like if Rob had a good buy, maybe. Darcy's injured. Nick Nat, I don't really trust, but he's playing unreal and gotten through the games unscathed so far. So no one else really appeals to me because they all have the bad buy, basically. So could you go all the way down to Reeves and then finish your team and then get back Grundy in a few weeks? Possibly. I don't see the point in going to anyone else. JD, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind the Goldie option. As Anna mentioned, just like it's 120k, you're gonna get scores this week and next week out of him, and then you wait for Grundy to come back and you trade back. But obviously, like this is still 2 trades. I don't hate the going, like just getting rid of Grundy, fielding Reeves and CCJ, waiting for Grundy to come down, and then pick him up. And like obviously, if his injury takes longer than expected, then that's real positive upside. But yeah, you do have the situation George is talking about where if we get a season pause, someone like Grundy makes 0 sense to trade because he'll be back, he'll be fit by the time the season resumes. So I think that's a really hard one to evaluate. Maybe one other one, which I'd be interested in your take on, is say we do get through this round, we're going into round 14. Would you sideways Oliver for Parrish or Bond?
Oh. So Oliver plays Collingwood this week. That's pretty free, but his break-even's like 180. So maybe he drops like 20k this week or something. So he's still going to be, 685.
Yeah, pretty much a straight swap it'll be.
Oh, you bank a bit of money. Honestly, you have Bont, JD, but what's it like sitting through a game without Bont? It's just...
Oh, I'm not going to cry about it. He's unbelievable to watch. It just doesn't make any sense why he's so free.
Yeah.
The amount of handball receives, whereas no one's near him, still makes 0 sense to me while they're tagging Libba. But no, he's insane. He's probably clear favourite for the Brownlow. Not owning him, I guess it's painful every time he kicks a goal, which seems like it's 4 every week. But I honestly think I probably should have gone Grundy to Bont last week in my position. And done the CCJ and Reeves sort of tactic because it is through the buys. So I'm still, I'm getting that extra primo score and it's currently the best primo in the game, really. So that probably is what and I still can do that, I guess. I know Bont's got the buy and use his cash next week, but I don't know. What are you going to do?
Does Oliver... Okay, what do they average for the rest of the year out of Oliver, Bont and Parrish? I think I'd have actually Oliver third. Based on what we've seen, which sounds stupid. I think Bont goes 135 for the rest of the year. There's a 200 game. It's coming. I'm not sure when. Probably the Crows game, but there's a 200 game coming. Oliver's 700. So you actually bank a little bit of money doing that as well. You bank like 40k going to Parrish, and Parrish is a slightly unknown quantity, but you can't deny what he's been able to do. I do think Essendon's opposition the past month hasn't been super strong. So I'd probably go Bont over Parrish. So
Parrish has to have a tag coming soon, doesn't he? At some point.
I'm not sure.
I
don't know. I think if Bont goes 10 more points than Oliver for the rest of the year each week, plus you get that big score in the last round, plus you get a bit of money, I think you could if you wanted to. Would you do it, JD?
No, I think this is like a bit of a trap move. We're barely going to get through with enough trades. I don't think I can be luxury sidewaysing them. All of them are good options, but I think if you have Clayton Oliver, don't trade him. If you have Bond, don't trade him. If you have Parrish, don't trade him. Like I think you just keep the ones that you have. You try and get the other, but I wouldn't be sacrificing any of the good ones to sideways. I just don't think you can. It's just one of those things where they're gone. Yeah. Mills is if you don't have Mills now, he's probably gone. If you don't have Bond now, if you don't have Parrish now, they're probably gone. If you don't have Zorko, probably gone.
Bond, he has to come in. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. No. Bont has to come in, and you're gonna field 13 next round. Okay, that's fine. Go for it.
I don't know.
Their fixture's just very, very easy as well. And I even looked at Essendon's. It's pretty simple too, apart from a couple tough games. But they're still playing. I think they're playing all the bottom six still to come. Gold Coast, Adelaide, Collingwood.
Hawks, Adelaide, North, and Gold Coast, and Collingwood. Yeah, all those 5 are still in Essendon's last.
It's going to be pain, but I guess not as many people have him as Bont, so it's not a bigger worry. But yeah, I guess we'll move on. We'll move on from that sort of talk. We'll get onto the buy targets now and who you should be bringing in over the next couple of weeks. Who had the buy just gone? I think the main one in defence is obviously Whitfield, so I think he's coming in for all of us this week. The main question would be, I don't know if we talked about it already a lot, but sidewaysing anyone to Whitfield if you already had a full defence, is that plausible? So what are you guys' thoughts there, George?
Okay, so everyone getting mad at Jaden Short for some reason. He's fine. Like, sure, he's going low 90 average with Hooley in the team. A bit surprised Hooley has made it this far, given his injury history, but you never know, I suppose. But I'm fine with Short. At least his role is good and he's ultra durable, so it's fine. May. Okay, would you go May to Whitfield? I think you do. I think you do that if you can. Over Short. And then the other one is probably Jordan Ridley. Throw in Caleb Daniel as well. Both underperforming. Both have had slight role changes. And with Ridley, I think I mentioned it in my video, it's very dependent. Well, first of all, he plays through that last buy. So you pretty much lose an extra premium for a week, or premium, quote unquote. So I would hold Short. I want to hold Short in May. It's just that I think I would probably hold Short over May to get Whitfield in. And then I would actually get rid of Whitfield for Ridley if you're okay for that buy round by some miracle. I think it's okay because Whitfield's worth it and he's way underpriced. And he's going to be I assume 90% of the top 1,000 will get Whitfield in this week. So it's going to be a pretty big negative pot if you don't have him. So I think you can do that if you have the trades and you can get through the buy. Not too bad. What do you think, JD?
I want to play a Who Am I with you. My last score of 120 plus was in round 4, and I have 4 scores under 80 for the year. Who am I?
Oh, it's clearly Shorty.
It's Shorty. Oh, very good. You got it. So because Ridley, his last 120 was in round 4, but he's only had 1 score under 80 that wasn't a concussion game. So it's interesting that you're hating on Ridley so much. You're giving Shorty the clap, but if you look at the numbers, Shorty's really not traveling much better than Ridley, and Ridley's actually had somewhat explainable reasons as to why he hasn't been traveling as well.
Whose role are you confident in more? I'll put it that way.
Well, we've seen what Ridley's role is currently, and it's not getting any worse than what it is on the upside. I think it's the same with Short. Short's role is well defined. There's upside if Hooley goes.
He's still getting 20 kicks a week, so I'm actually... I don't know how he scored 78 on the weekend. His stats look very similar to what he does every week. I think he just sort of was a victim of parish domination. 6 other Tigers kicking multiple goals. In those Essendon games, a lot of them are like 200 total points. So I think it just wasn't enough points to go around for him that game. I'm not making excuses, but I'm just so much more confident in him than Ridley going forward.
Yeah, so I guess the thing for me is, right, Shorty has a terrible buy, and if you're going to field a 0 that round, you're losing out on, say, call it 80 points for Ridley. Those 80 points over the remaining 10 rounds, that's 8-point average. So if you're trading out Shorty, if you're trading out Ridley over Short, then you have to believe that Short's going to average like basically 10 points more for the year over Ridley from here. Otherwise, you should just be trading Shorty.
Nah, with the buys, it makes total sense. But it's more like Shorty versus Matt, I guess.
Yeah. So I just don't think you can trade Ridley unless for some reason you're fine next round. I just don't see how you get out of that. If you do want to trade Ridley, save your trades and do it after the buy rounds are finished and get someone really worthwhile like a Mills.
Yeah, I agree there. With that buy, you just can't trade Ridley. I looked at it. You just can't.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. So yeah, I can agree with that.
Begrudgingly,
yeah.
He did not happy to agree with that at all.
Well, yeah, I mean...
I am worried about Ridley's floor at the moment. I think it could be he could average 80 for the rest of the year if we're lucky. He only started scoring when Hind went forward. Otherwise, it was another 60 game. He's free falling in cash. I'm very worried about this pick, and it's probably up to his coach whether he starts scoring well or not. So it's out of our hands, I think.
Yeah, Shorty just still has the kick-outs. He's 25 touches a week, whereas Ridley's sort of been under the 20 mark is a couple of weeks in a row now, so he's a bit worrying. He's not getting enough of the ball, so his floor is definitely lowered. Move on to midfield now. We've already spoken a lot on these two guys, Bont and Parrish, but probably another one we were pretty keen on last week. I didn't expect him to play, but he did come in, and that's Lachie Neale. What did you guys think of how he performed first week off? 8 weeks off now, or even maybe it was more than that. So how'd you guys like the look of him?
Lachie Neale, he was not good at all. Good in the stoppages, really poor work rate. Looked like he was blowing out late in the game. So this is okay. So with Lachie Neale, he's had a limited preseason. Then he played through a back injury for a few weeks and had one good game. Then he was out with syndesmosis, and now he's come back early. Now he gets a bit of a break. So he's barely trained all year, I assume. Although he did train fully the past 2 weeks. But yeah, he's missed a lot of this year. Probably not as conditioned as he would have liked to be like in previous years. It is Lachie Neale, ultimate professional, all that. So you look at Lachie Whitfield, right? He had a limited preseason as well. He's had about 4 or 5 weeks to get going, probably 2 months of running. And he looks like he's back. So he's had his preseason, and that's pretty much been the last month. Been a little bit rusty, so maybe Neale needs a few games to get going. But I think Neale's injuries, Whitfield just had the one, whereas Neale's had, body injuries, just quite a few everywhere. So I don't want to pick Neale until final upgrade in I'm not going to finish the team till about round 16. So he's one I'll look at in round 16. I'm not sure I want to get him in round 14 after watching him. And it's also got me concerned with Danger, who also had a groin injury all preseason. And now he's been out for most of the year with injury. So with the syndesmosis as well. So now it's like, do I want to wait till these guys drop a bit more? But the time they drop, people are probably going to finish teams. So it's a tough one. What are you thinking, JD? I mean, for Neale, I don't want to go him round 14, maybe round 16 after some form. What do you think?
Yeah, my original plan was to get in Neale, and I was comfortable with what I saw. He was moving much better than he was at the start of the year when he had back issues and a bunch of stuff. I think he just looked like someone that hadn't played in a month or two. It just looked like that typical first game back where he's still working into it. So having played the game a week off and then playing North, I think there's a really good chance he bounces back. But I can also see with his 160-something break even that it might be worth just waiting for the week, missing out on the North score, getting him in the week after. Now, to your point, you are going to be then a primo down for a week, which hurts. But he is going to come in at a really cheap price. And if waiting a week means I get Neale for $550 versus someone else paying $680 for Parrish, I feel like I'm going to win that over the back half of the year. So I'm still planning to get him in as my last mid. It might just not be next week. It might be the week after.
Yeah, I think he should be better off that. It's probably good he got the run. You would have definitely been trading in completely blind round 14, and you might have got a performance like you did on the weekend. So maybe it is better that he did have the run. Gets the bye now, gets another rest to recover, and he should attack the back half of the year pretty well. You just still have to sort of trade in a little bit blind. I know he's played one game, but it's still a little risk to me. So I'm probably with George there. Wait an extra week or two and just get some more confidence in the pick before you jump straight on. Is there any other mids you guys want to talk about? Maybe coming off the bye, it's not a great deal. There's sort of your Tuke Millers, Travis Boak, Ollie Wines. It's not a great deal that it really targets this week. Tom Mitchell would be the main one, I guess. But how confident are we in him?
Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly, sorry, I did miss him. So, yeah.
I thought you were doing that just to protect me. He's just saving my ego a little bit by...
Well, are you still confident in people wanting to bring him in over the back half of the year?
I don't want to bring him in. Once bitten, twice shy. I I could totally see myself bringing him in if I hadn't already been an owner and hurt by the role change.
It's like principle, isn't it?
A little bit. It's just one of those things where this is probably like some of the gaps in human decision making come to the forefront, where if you're doing everything perfectly logical, the fact that he burnt me once already wouldn't worry me. I'd probably be really interested in bringing him in. But yeah, it hurts so much more being burnt a second time in the year, because it's like you already got told once that this was a dumb idea. You came back and tried it again. How dumb are you? So I just can't do it. I'd rather get Neil. I'd rather try and find money to get Parrish. I'd rather do anything but get Josh Kelly in.
What's your thoughts, George?
I can see, like, it would be soul destroying for JD to bring in Jelly and then
not work again
forward, because Canelio and Daniels, they're back in the next 3 or 4 or something like that. It's like if I brought in. Can you imagine if I brought in Heaney this week and I saw him limping? I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know, sit there and cry.
You would have melted down.
Oh.
Well, it's like I started Neil, so bringing Neil back, it'd be in my team again. So, not that I'm looking at it, but it's, I guess, similar. But he's obviously a lot more proven. Yeah. What do you think, George? I know you were looking at Jelly for a little bit, weren't you?
I mean, I'm thinking of upside here, and he's the one that can, with his fixture especially, he can go 120 plus. Whereas pretty much everyone else, I guess Neil's in the same price bracket now. Duncan's coming back, but I just remember Duncan's back half of last year, and I'm like, no thanks. But yeah, they're the ones that can kind of go with the 650k plus mids, well, not like get within 15 points of them. Another one is Took Miller coming off the bye. He just came off a Hawthorn game, and they can't play, so I think Miller's fine. It's just that once you're paying 610, I'd rather just go up to Parrish or Bont. So, I don't know. I don't mind Josh Kelly because I think it can work, but I guess it's like you probably want a trade up or 3 up your sleeve. If you have like 4 injury trades left, I think I'd go Josh Kelly, to be honest. If you're low, I don't think it's worth the risk. That's my view anyway. So I don't think it's the worst option because the upside is there. It's just, you want a plan B if it goes wrong.
And the fixture is so good coming up. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah.
They've got North, Carlton, and then Hawks, I want to say, in the next 3.
Oh, God.
And then I think after that's like it's Melbourne or something, so it then gets harder. But yeah, the next 3 weeks... I mean, if you're saying no Josh Kelly now, you've really got to commit to it because the next few weeks are going to hurt.
His break even's still 110, so if it's this week, next week, or never, probably. Preferably this week.
Yeah, it'd be a vice captain option for sure. Moving on now to the forward line. Now, much like this whole round, the first bye, we're probably all sweet for, but there wasn't a lot of players to really attack afterwards. There's probably only Hawkins. I can't even think of any others in the forward line from the bye team. So maybe Charlie Dixon, maybe toyed over last week. But really, it's sort of just who we're getting from beyond this week. Your Langford. Go for it.
Quickly, with the extra trades, I'm not sure you want to be going a Dixon type anymore.
No.
I think you want to get your payout for quality.
No, Hawkins would be the only one I trust just because of his body of work, especially over the last 2 or 3 years. He's very consistent and usually up there for total points. So he'd be the only one I consider. But, I guess we'll just talk about ones we can look at getting at, after this week and to sort of finish our team with. Because I know probably forwards where I've got my last 2 spots to get, so I don't have to be this week. Now's all go. Go for it.
Just on Hawkins, sorry. I did have a little stat on this. So his average with Jeremy Cameron, which has been 6 games this year, it's 106.2. His average without Jeremy Cameron, 5 games, 82 average. So that is a 24-point differential with Jeremy Cameron in the side. So yeah, if you're looking for a left field forward coming off that first bye, do not mind the Hawkins pick at all.
Yeah, and I think he's averaging 105 for the last 40 games or something. So, no, he's definitely consistent. Obviously got to be up and down, but overall, he still sort of levels out to a reasonable total points over a period. So, Zorko. Now, just came out a couple of hours ago is that Brisbane are not challenging the call, so he will miss the round 14 clash against North. I don't know if we're all excited here, not really, but it does help us non-owners. And, he's 600k now. He's had an unbelievable 6 or 7 weeks, so missing a game can only help the people like us. So what do you guys sort of, in regards to actually trading him and people who do have him, what would your advice be? We'll go to George.
Oh, I have no shame celebrating the suspension. Rightly deserved, but look, he's been a very good pick. I think the Discord, we're all laughing when he got suspended during the game, but all the people that have him were like, oh, well, 130 average for 500k. So they probably still won. It's just this one. It's just now that you have to make a call on whether to trade him or not. So with Neil coming back into, we think should, build up after a few weeks and then return to some sort of form. I don't think his CBAs were super high this week either for Zorko. So maybe I'm thinking he's a 105 for the rest of the year. I'm not sure. But yeah, he's been unbelievable the past 6 weeks or so. Bad miss. But now it's like, do you trade him? Is this your chance to grab... I guess it's hard to say because if you want to grab like a Parish, he's the one that could get you to Parish, but Parish is next week. So it's someone coming off, this buy round. Do you go down to Hawkins, make 100k, get 2 extra games out of Hawkins, and 100k? Is that something you could do? Or Aaron Hall? I think I'd do it down to Hall. It's a very hard one because he is probably F1. The only one that can possibly go with him, I think, is Aaron Hall. And possibly Danger if he hits form. So do you really want to trade F1, who has a low break even as well, so you're probably not going to get him back after? Given you get 2 extra rounds out of a player, I think it's almost worth the trade. But if you're fine for this round and you can get around the last buy round, I think you hold. Because if you can cover him fine, then he's only really missing 1 game. But it is, if you have him, it's the worst buy to miss. So it's a tough one. I think I'm fine with trading. I'm fine with holding, depending on how you go for probably this buy. What do you think, JD?
Yeah, there's definitely... I feel good. So well, this almost might need to be a new segment, which is like shitty things super coaches think for the week type segment, because there was a few really good ones this week, right? So we had Zorko finally getting his carver, right? We had Madden getting dropped and Waitman holding his spot, all right? So that was well deserved. So
And scoring 80.
Yep, and
he's probably going to come back with bloody Leicester hands.
Hey, don't say that. This week was, that was a big win. All right, that's all we need for 1 week. And then thirdly, we had Heaney getting like double punished, right? Like trading in this injury-prone guy. Came out during the week, he'd actually had a 3rd injury. He's also now in this buy that you don't want him. So Heaney owners got punished as well. So these are 3 really jerk super coach things to say. But do you want to take your pick of which one was your favorite?
Me? I think Zorko. He's given me the shits all year. So, yeah, I think definitely Zorko. Because that pick, 32 with 2 soft tissue injuries last year. To me, that's just fundamentally wrong the way he's been playing, but I guess it is what it is. But deserved, bad person.
I think underrated for me, and probably not the popular answer, is just Waitman and Madden. I just like that one because Waitman had another good game and Madden was dropped straight away. So it's probably not the popular answer, but for me, that one I kind of enjoyed.
I would have picked that one too. Paying up for job security, that is fundamental. So I love to see that get rewarded. This is a long way to circle back to the original question: trade or hold, Zorko? You hold.
Yeah.
As tough as it is to say after our little jerk celebrations aside, Zorko has been amazing. He looks really good. And the fixture coming home for Brisbane Lions is insane. I think they have 1 tough game left. Everything else is absolute cake. So I don't see how he's not F1 for the year. I don't see how he continues not, you just have to hold him. Unless you can somehow trade him out for his bye week, get him back the week after, which no one can do that. Come on. You just have to hold him. He's so good at the moment. It's unfair, but if you have him, well done. you had a small speed bump this week, which the rest of us, we get a little bit of breathing room, but he's going to power home as F1 for the year. So, yeah, you got to hold. You just got to hold.
Wait. What if you don't have Aaron Hall? You get 2 extra rounds of Aaron Hall and 100K. You wouldn't do that.
I'd get Aaron Hall, but I would get rid of someone else to do it. There's no way you're getting rid of Zorko to do it. Surely you've got a worse person in that buy, like a Brayshaw or a May, and you can somehow swap things with DPP so you keep both Hall and Zorko. I wouldn't be getting rid of Zorko.
I'm just looking at these fixtures. How is every fixture we've just talked about cake? Like, it's like no team has played Collingwood, Gold Coast, Hawthorn, or Adelaide yet, and and North and Brisbane play all 5. Yeah, that's going to kill us. At least he's not playing the North game, so you definitely hold on with you, JD. That's crazy to talk to trade out this guy. And like George said, I don't think his CBAs are that high anyway. And with Neil coming back, that doesn't worry me. He plays that sort of high half forward, pushing up to the stoppage. His score involvements are through the roof. He does everything in Supercoach to score well. Tackles, he had 10 tackles on the weekend, goal assists. Yeah, he's a great player. But the week off is certainly going to help us non-owners. So he's still going to power home. You just can't trade that out, I don't think. It is annoying. Like with the game change and now the Zorko suspension, if you had like Dusty, Shorty, Shy and Zorko, you've just gained 4 extra round 14 buy players, technically, for no reason. Like, very unlucky. But yeah, I guess that's just what happens sometimes. It's a bit uncertainty at the moment. So you got anything to say, George? You're all good.
I think there's more karma coming for Zorko. I'll leave it at that.
I heard you ready to say something. I knew you had something on your mind. Yeah, Aaron Hall. Sorry, I can't believe I did forget him when I was talking about players off the buy end, because we all owned him and got him sort of a few weeks ago. But yeah, he definitely would be the number 1 target in the forward line off the buy. Obviously, a little worry with that hamstring thing at the end of the last game, but he should be fine after the buy, a week off. It was very minor and probably wasn't even a strain at all. So obviously, until we hear he's playing, he should be fine. So he'd be definitely my number 1 target in the forward line. I'm sure you guys agree very quickly.
Yep. Although he did get his hamstring rubbed.
Yeah, I know it worries you, George, and stuff like that, but he should be okay. He did come back on after that, so week off, he should be fine. JD, you agree? He might be gone at the moment. Anyway, we move on. Now, Langford's a big one. George was up to about 2 a.m. every night this week watching highlights, doing research on Bomber fan pages. But McGrath's just come out literally before we started recording that he's going to be out for 8 to 12 with that PCL. So Langford pretty much moves into now their third mid, and will be playing there for the majority of the rest of the year with Shield still out till I think another 4 or 5 weeks. So
I think it's longer than that. It's
still longer than that. Yeah,
he was supposed to be out for the year, but as of a week ago, or we'll just say now, it would be 5 to 7 weeks as of right now.
Yeah.
So
well,
then
I'll throw it to you, mate. On Langford, you go. Go ahead.
So on my resume at the bottom it says, in others, it says Kyle Langford expert. After this week of research, I have searched far and wide for a cheap forward, and for me it was Heaney, and I didn't have the balls to go Langford because I just didn't know if he stayed in that inside mid role. And to me, from what I've read of everything about him, is to me I see him as a wingman, but he's inside. Like, his clearance numbers aren't high. I'm not sure if he's not the greatest clearance player or Darcy Parish is doing it by himself at the moment. But the 2 things that I like the most about Langford, or 3 things. 1, he had a really strong preseason, one of the standouts. 2, he's in the perfect age bracket. So he's just hit 24. So number of preseasons under his belt. And 3, well, now the role is there. So I think there's one more to add, but I can't remember. So I think because of all the injuries, I think he stays to at least the last 3 rounds or so. I still see him long term as a wingman, but the other thing is his endurance.
Goals, yeah.
He kicks goals. Well? His endurance is super, super high. He takes marks around the ground. He can take the odd contested mark. He is more of an uncontested player. You can tell I've read like 3 different draft profiles on him. But yeah, I think, he scored. So he's been inside mid 4 rounds. First game, he only scored the 67, but he was playing defensive midfielder on Fife. So he will take the best midfielder generally. He took Dusty at
Yeah,
stoppages
he
as
did.
well.
I did notice that.
And then the last 3 rounds, he's gone, I think, 100, so 120, 120, I think, something like
Yeah,
that.
125, 125. So
He is 470k. The ceiling is there. I didn't think it was, but it actually is based on what we've seen. The preseason is there. The durability is there. He's straight in 470k. He's my guy that I want. Last
see
round.
after this
Are
week.
you guys looking at him? In that round 14?
I am for sure. Go to JD.
Yeah, sorry, I've stopped my coughing fit. I actually, George is going to brainwash me on another pick. I can't believe it, and a bomber too. I think I will go Langford. So I'm pretty worried about Impey being a keeper from here on out, especially with Day coming back. I think there's a really good chance that Impey drops down to low 80s or even into the 70s for average from here on out. So my current plan is I've got one last forward spot. I want Danger, but I'm thinking I bring in Langford this week, wait for Danger to drop, and then eventually upgrade Impey to Danger as a luxury upgrade later on in the year. I think that's the sweet spot for me of using these 2 extra trades well, of being able to finish my team early without having to wait for the Danger price drop. But yeah, I actually think I might do it. It's crazy. So the only other thing that people don't talk about is Dylan Clark is finally not injured anymore. They may remember him from such fame as making Cripps drop like a 60 2 years ago from some tagging. He came in as a real hot tagger for a few games and then has been injured most of this year. So he's another mid that could come in for us, and he can only play inside mid. So but this is like clutching at straws for reasons why Langford wouldn't continue to do well over at least the next 5 to 6 weeks when Shield returns. And even then, we've seen him as that fourth mid still score well over these last few rounds. The thing that does worry me the most is the scoring has come in wins. It has come in against easier opponents. We haven't seen a good body of work of Langford still being able to do this in losses in that midfield role or against harder midfield opposition. So that part does worry me.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think with the role, especially in the McGrath news, and sort of his price range is pretty good at 470 after that buy. I think he'll be one I'll be bringing in to, not only to upgrade, obviously to get a body in that round 14 buy, but yeah, with that role and those guys missing for quite still some time, a couple of months probably for both of them, McGrath and Shield. So it's very appealing. And like you said, even before McGrath going down, he has, obviously the 70 or 67 in that first game as a mid against Fife isn't amazing, but the last 2 before that as the fourth mid, still behind McGrath, was still both tons. So, I think he averages somewhere in the 90s with that role, whether it's hopefully high 90s. I still think it can be low 90s because, like George said, he is more of an uncontested guy. He had 30 touches on the weekend or 29, and he still only had sort of 7 contested, which is okay, but 7 or 8, I think. But yeah, you still obviously want more, but maybe kicking the goals and, that sort of stuff. He has those other avenues to score, which is a good thing.
Just quickly on Langford, I still think there might be a chance that he shifts roles back to wing, but his floor on a wing is about 80, and then the upside playing inside mid, it could be 110. I don't think it'll be there. I'm more expecting 95, but just based on what we've seen so far, he's been 3-round average of 117. So just wanted to add that.
No dramas. Any other forwards you guys see? I think waiting for Danger is probably the main one that I know JD's very keen on. I'm probably not as keen. Obviously, want to see him play first and see how he comes back. But thing is, if he starts performing well, he probably won't drop too much. I know his break even is I think 200 as he comes back, but he's 600k, so he maybe drops to the 550, 560. But I'm just not quite sure I can get to that in the forward line. What's your thoughts, JD?
I guess Dale coming off his bye next week is one to look at, and the other one that is super speculative is Harry Mackay, who is now 341k, has a 5 in his break even. He won't miss a game because they've got the bye this week. He'll come back next week, drop some more. You could look at him after buys at a 300k Heaney-esque price point as someone that could be your F7 or if you're really down bad and are absolutely desperate to finish a team, maybe he could be your F6. So, I don't love it as an option. Definitely not my plan A or my plan B. But if you need a plan C, yeah, maybe consider Harry.
I did look at that. He'll be sub 300 after he plays a couple. He obviously missed a week with concussion plus the bye. So, well, I guess he gets that through in the bye. So, he's still super injured too. But even before this concussion, he was sort of
carrying
every
a
game
shoulder,
he was grimacing with that shoulder. So it is risky, but I do see the appeal because it's so cheap. You know, you could almost gain cash from a rookie to him. So, George, what's your quick thoughts on that?
I think Heaney reminded us of one thing this week. Don't touch players that are injured or carrying an injury. So unless I hear that he's 100% over that shoulder injury, I don't care if it's for F7. Forget it. I'm not interested.
Maybe another one yet. Dale, I think we all endorse. You guys got him in this week. I've had him for a couple. His role is secure. He's their main distributor, takes kickouts. So we all endorse him. It's probably Nick Hind, though, and concerns over him on the weekend. I know some people have brought him in over the last couple of weeks, and he got shoved forward sort of second half. So was that the result of an injury? How did you see that one play out, JD? And would you still endorse him, after the bye?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you over the coughing. Who are you asking about?
Nick Hind. Nick Hind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. You're still talking about Nick Hind. I said no to him ages ago. Come on.
Okay.
How many pods ago did I say no to Nick Hind?
JD still a no. George, and you were massive on him. Are you still, or you were, yes, are you now a no?
Oh, you can't pick him now after going half forward.
Yeah.
That's a shame. They're playing the best interceptor in the league in lockdown, the second best rebounder in the forward line. I mean, Ben Rutten's been good, but I don't know about those. But I guess they're trying to accommodate for other players in the team. But
at least he got Parrish right.
Yeah, so it took 3 rounds, but anyway. But they, Nick Hind played half forward at St Kilda. I was shocked when they moved him to half forward. I didn't think it was going to happen. He was the one where I thought his role was the most secure out of everyone. Apparently not. So I fully expect him to go back to half back, but I'm not sure. And if he keeps playing half forward, the scoring is pretty much dead. You're going to get like in the 60s average possibly. So I don't think you can risk that now. But I still think I would hold him another week to see if he goes back to half back. If not, I think he has to go. But you never know what they do with him. But yeah, I'd be gobsmacked if they didn't play him half back for 90% of the rest of the year.
In all seriousness, I think that's just a 1-round thing. So there's 2 things that have happened. You had Dev Smith go down injured, and then you had Snelling break his thumb. And these are our 2 like small forward type options. Then with McGrath's injury going down, we had to reshuffle the side, and Hind is unfortunately the only one that actually has experience playing that type of role. And I think Rutten actually praised him after the game for being able to inject some speed into our forward play. So he praised him for his effort, but I agree that I don't think it's the long-term plan. And once you have those 2 returning from injury, Hind's role gets back to normal where he's playing behind the ball again.
Yeah, look, he's still top 6 for total points. So I think it's going to come. He still will average around 90. I suspect it's just there are a little bit more, better options sort of around his price.
Well, it's like with Langford versus Hind. The floor of Hind is far worse for a role change. So, I love Nick Hind as an option before this half forward thing happened, but just uncertainty going forward. So I'll pass.
All right, that's pretty much it. We'll go to rookies now, sort of pretty pivotal part of the buys that we need some guys to pop up. I think all of us got CCJ and Bianco this week. Did you, JD, get CCJ?
I did. I got both of them, which was amazing because we got rewarded for going early on rookies with a 88 and a 75, which was amazing. Definitely in the best 18 scores.
Yeah, I think after Bianco's debut, he was a lock for me, sort of seeing how much he got of the pill and his role. CCJ was more of not speculative, but I know people were waiting on, and especially with the buy change, do I get him now or wait? So obviously now you have to get him with that buy change because he's going up this week, but getting that score instead of, I would have had Warner's 39, I think. That came off my scores, so getting his 86 was nice. So those 2, I think they're the most traded in players this week, it's sort of a no-brainer. You have to get those two guys. Now Reeves is the other one. We obviously didn't get him last week. He'll be the one coming in for us, provided everything's all good with that shoulder and he's selected, obviously. Now it's sort of it gets a bit dicey with who's going to pop up. Another guy, I think fifth traded him most right now is Luke Edwards from West Coast. Now he has the shocking buy, but he does go up this week, and I think I saw some high praise from Simo after the game in his role. And West Coast have a lot of injuries, so he probably has scope to play sort of past the buys as well. Would you guys be bringing him in this week, or have you had a look at him?
I don't need a 19th player not playing that round. I'll skip for now, but he looked good.
That was some impressive self-censorship, by the way, Anno. I think, for me, it's one of those ones where he's only going to play 2 games before his bye. Maybe after his bye, if I need another downgrade option, I'll look at him. I just can't see myself bringing in another player that won't be on the field for round 14 after we've just gone and got Bianco and Coleman Jones. It just doesn't make sense for me to bring him in. I'm hoping that there's going to be better options than that for next week, basically.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, Max Holmes from Geelong, I mean, we can speak on him, but we don't really know him, and we suspect probably with their ins coming back that he probably gets dropped anyway, so he's probably not one.
Five potential ins.
So he's probably not one worth talking about because, unfortunately, he probably makes way.
The problem is, even if he retains his spot this week, so what? You're going to have more ins next week, and then he gets dropped. So it doesn't matter about whether or not they play this week. Most people are fine for this week. It's whether or not he plays next week. Yeah. And there's just no way you can take a punt on Holmes surviving the next 2 games with Duncan, Guthrie, and Danger all to come back in, plus whoever else is queuing up.
Yeah, I think he probably gets dropped this week anyway, so it won't really matter. And Rose, this small forward from Gold Coast, who scoring 20s, so
might as well trade in a 102 donut.
That's the other thing. So I think the main one's probably John Newcomb, who has been talked about a lot, and we're very hopeful that he plays 102k in the mid-season draft. You probably read more on me, George. Do you think he'll get the call up this week?
Full send, John Newcomb. Hopefully he plays next week. I need a 102 player, so I think he plays at some stage. They've been playing. He's in their system already. Remember Ryan Gardner was in the Bulldogs system when he started playing games through the mid-season draft. Then he started playing for the Dogs. So look, I don't know if he plays or not. There might even be issues with like COVID protocols. He might not even be able to get to the squad. So, it's just, does he play or not? I wouldn't have a clue. Sounds like he's a chance though, so I might just do it anyway and be covered for the year once he starts playing. If he doesn't, then I still got Bianco to cover for the year. So I think we'll see. I might go early even if he doesn't play. Not ideal, but I need the money, so it is what it is. And look, if I'm trading into playing rookie anyway, I'm probably getting like a 50. I don't need a rookie this round, so in terms of for their scoring, I don't need it. But for the next round, I'm probably trading in a 50 score anyway. If someone gets named by some chance, so see how we go. But yeah, I'm probably going to get him in this week, regardless of if he plays or not. Do you think that's a good idea, JD?
No, I don't think that's a good idea. He has to play. We're just talking about. Don't go for Holmes, don't go for Edwards because they're going to give you another donut. If he's not named, don't trade him in. You're giving yourself another donut, George.
So I'm going to let Warner score another 60 and drop another 10k for the eighth week straight.
It's probably not a great idea either.
I'm doing it, I don't care.
Oh, jeez. I desperately want him to play. I think there are other pickup. Jackson Callow is another interesting one where he's ready-made to go. The Hawks forward line could use someone else. I think Cozzy's really been the only standout this year. So maybe he gets a debut sooner rather tn later. I guess the reason why you'd expect Newcomb to go early is I believe he was the one that got offered the 4-year deal, and he's already been playing in Box Hill, so the VFL side. So he should know their structure and the way they play pretty well already, which makes me think he should be ready to go. He should just, hopefully it's next week. If it's not next week, it's hopefully the week after. But I'm going to wait until he's actually named because for next week, I'll just be picking the cheapest people that are actually playing a game for rookies. So if that means I have to wait for Newcomb for a couple of weeks, then so be it.
I know we probably always say this, or I do, but what if they don't come? What if there is no rookies? I know they always tend to, and they do show up time and time again. But what if there genuinely is none?
Yeah, I mean, to George's point then, right, if there's none, everyone's in the same boat. You just take the 102K loophole ones that suit your team the best. Or maybe we revisit the conversation around, do I downgrade someone on the buy like an Oliver to someone that is playing?
Get money back.
And then, you get the rookie equivalent cash, and then do you upgrade that way?
Yeah. I guess that's it. So is there any others, rookies? I think you looked at, is possibly... No, I don't think Cockatoo will play.
I don't think he's been that great in the VFL from what I've read.
Oh, I've heard he's actually the last couple of weeks he's been really building. He's been quite good. So
I've seen that for 5 years.
Look, if he's selected, we go him, I guess. But
he's just he's talent. He's one of those ones where obviously don't go on him now. But if he gets named next week to play a game, I'm just taking him. Yeah. I only want him to play one game, and then he can get dropped for the rest of the year, whatever.
Yeah,
not touching that fault.
Well, if there's no other rookies you guys are aware of or want to speak about, I guess we'll move on to captains and vice captains.
Just quickly on rookies.
Yep.
Another issue is that in the last buy round, we're going to have far less teams playing.
It's only 5. It's only 5 games. Like it's a bit crazy to still suspect.
There's less chance for rookies to pop up. So
yeah,
just add that in.
No, that's fair. Hopefully, it means there's more this week with an extra game. Who knows? VC and C. I think you guys have it pretty set already. What are you guys going?
Steele against Crom is pretty free. And then if you have Josh Kelly, I guess you could VC Josh Kelly. I have Guthrie. I'm not going to VC him because I just need to know, maybe does he play more of an outside role or something given his AC joint? That's my issue. We'll worry about that and see how we go to next week. But I wouldn't VC him, but could be okay. But still then it's Oliver against Collingwood or Gawn against Max Lynch as the fullback captain. So still into Oliver or Gawn. I'm not sure. I think Gawn because it's Max Lynch. Rob went 140 on him, I think. So 137 he went on Collingwood. What do you think, JD?
That's perfect to me. I was just trying to think, is there another speculative option? And I'll tell you what, if you don't have Steele and you don't have Josh Kelly, the two that I guess you could consider as Whitfield as a risky option, or even Brayshaw against the Gold Coast Suns as a risky option as well. Only as vice captains, of course, and then you'd be looking at your Oliver Gawn captaincy still. But I guess those two are somewhat interesting matchups for me as well, especially given that Brayshaw is playing at home against Gold Coast.
Yep, sounds good to me, boys. I'll be going Mills because that's the reason I got him in for this. Not the reason. He's D1, but he's got the horse this week. So, I mean, that should be a 130 plus. We'll see how he goes. So, hopefully I get a pod 200.
Fingers crossed.
But yeah, the Melbourne fullbacks are pretty pretty obvious too.
Oliver or Gawn, though?
It's tough. I mean, we obviously got it wrong, most of us this week. I think the whole community pretty much went on Clary. I mean, it's hard not to with his current form, but tried and true Gawn. I mean, we probably just lost a little bit of trust in him, but probably for no reason. I mean, he's still Max Gawn. So against a third gamer, probably sounds pretty good to be honest. So, but then it could flip again. Who knows? You think he'd go large against Max Lynch?
I'll go Gawn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
JD, if you had to decide.
Yeah, Gawn for me too. And you're right. I went the V on Oliver last week, which was wrong, and then I went the V on Gawn the week before that, which was wrong. So, look, I just keep alternating and keeps being wrong, but I do think Gawn has the better matchup this week. So yeah, I'd be putting the C on him.
Oh well, fingers crossed we all get a big VC and we don't have to worry about it. So, good luck this week, boys. Trade well, score well, and we'll be back next week for the dreaded round 14.
Next week will be a fun one because there's so many options of do we sideways premium, see where we're at in the round. But yeah, obviously JD's already said probably not sideways, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of interesting discussion points next week, so can't wait.
JD.
Yep. I think my general advice is going to be KISS, which is keep it simple, stupid. So it's going to be very fun to talk about all the things we can do next week, but just think KISS.
Guys, catch you later.